In this video, I'm going to give you all the latest rumors regarding the iPhone 14. I want to make a disclaimer before I begin the video, and that is that I need you guys to take all the information that I'm about to give with a grain of salt the size of Mount Everest. The reason for this is that this information changes constantly to the point that by the time you're probably watching this video, some of the information will either have been adjusted or completely denied and rejected. So without further ado, let's get to it. Okay, let's start talking about the bad news. One of the bad news and the worst news, in my opinion, is that the iPhone 14, the non-Pro models, will have the same processor as the iPhone 13 Pro. It's still a better processor than the non-Pro models of the iPhone 13, but it's still going to be the A15 processor. It will not be the A16, which is supposed to be the one that will be replacing it. Every year since the inception of the iPhone, there has been a processor that has replaced the one before it. This is the first time that they will have two different processors. Kind of. I'll tell you why the kind of in a moment. But it is being rumored that the non-Pro 14 models are going to remain with the A15 processor, even though it will be the one that the iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max use, which is different from the one from the iPhone 13. The Pro models have actually one additional GPU core that the normal 13 models don't have. But it's still going to be the A15. So I don't know if Apple is going to do this. I don't know if they do it and they call it the A16 even though it's still the A15. And then they call the one for the Pro models the A16 Pro or the A16X. I don't know how it's going to work. I hope this doesn't come true, obviously, because, again, in my opinion, this is the worst rumor that I've heard so far regarding everything that's going on with the iPhone. The next bad one, depending on your opinion, obviously, the iPhone 13 mini is gone. So it only lasted 2 generations, iPhone 12 and iPhone 13. So they're going to replace the iPhone 13 mini with a Max model. So now the lineup is going to be iPhone 14 and 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max, iPhone 14 Max and iPhone 14 Pro Max. Jesus Christ, these words. Come on, Apple. You gotta do something about the naming. It's unbelievable. Both Max models will have a 6.7-inch display. The only difference will obviously be the refresh rate, which I'm going to be talking about later on in the good news. Anyways, the camera bump. Another bad news, a bit of bad news, depending on obviously your point of view. The camera bump is set to get bigger. The reason for that is good news, but you know, a lot of people already say that the iPhone 13 Pro models, which have the biggest camera bump and camera sensors so far on an iPhone, they already thinks that that's too big. Apple is basically saying hold my beer. So they're going to actually increase the size even more on the next model. But I'll tell you in the good news why that might not be such a bad thing. The Lightning port is going to stick around for at least 1 more year. The iPhone has had the Lightning port ever since the iPhone 5, I think it was. If not, I'm going to be telling you which one it is up here. But I'm pretty sure it was the iPhone 5, the first one that came with a Lightning port. Ever since that model, they've had the Lightning port. The Lightning port is getting a little bit up there in age. And also, speed-wise, it doesn't stand a chance when you put it side-by-side comparisons with USB-Cs. It's set to stick around at least for one more year. Although what they are saying is that there will be an increase in quality speed for the Lightning cable to make it a little bit more competitive with USB-C. The reason why it's not changing yet, but it eventually will change either with the iPhone 15 or definitely it has to do with the iPhone 16. Although, if you're going to sell the iPhone 15 by 2024, you're going to have to make the change because the EU has already decided that by 2024, every company has to be selling a mobile phone with USB-C. That's what they're going to call the standard. Instead of Apple just deciding not to sell any more iPhones in Europe, which is stupid, obviously, and instead of actually having one iPhone model for Europe and a different iPhone model for the rest of the world, it's much cheaper just to make the change over to USB-C, which is what is rumored. Most possibly for the iPhone 15 is when it's going to happen. But obviously, it's still, we're barely talking about iPhone 14 rumors. So anything regarding iPhone 15, you take it with a planet-sized grain of salt. Anyways, let's get now to the good news. Obviously, depending on what you think. These are things that are almost guaranteed to happen. The new cutout, as you can see behind me, and you can see on the images now, it is rumored that the iPhone will remove the notch on the Pro models only. It will have both a pill-shaped cutout and a punch hole cutout. So this is actually very welcome change. Hopefully with this, at least on the Pro models, we will have the ability to put back the percentage of our battery back on the main screen. Instead of having to access Command Center, we will actually have that back, but we'll just have to wait and see regarding that one. The iPhone Pro models, let's get back now talking about the camera. It will have a 48 megapixel sensor for the first time. This will be actually the first change to the megapixel size since the iPhone 6s. Ever since the iPhone 6s, even though the quality of the images has gotten much better, it's always been a 12 megapixel sensor for the iPhone. For the first time, it is rumored that this year it will change to 48 megapixels, giving you even better image quality. And also, with the bigger sensor, it is rumored that it will have an 8K video recording capabilities. So this obviously will waste even more space on your phone's storage, but it is obviously a welcome change if they can do it properly. I've said before, in my opinion, the iPhone records the nicest 4K image and video of any phone out there. Let's hope they can pass that over to 8K. If they don't, I really don't recommend them doing so, because right now, 4K quality on the iPhone, in my opinion, is the best. So if they don't do it well with 8K, they should just stick with 4K. Let's finish up with the maybes. Why do I call them maybes? Because these don't come from reliable resources. These come from just people spreading the word and, everybody just talking about it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it comes from a reliable resource. The first rumor is that the Pro models could switch from stainless steel over to titanium. For those of you who don't know, titanium is both lighter and more rigid than stainless steel, and it is rumored that the new iPhone, at least the Pro models, will be leaving behind the stainless steel frame to go with a titanium frame. The other rumor that is being talked about, and this one I honestly, if it happens, it will be incredible, is that the iPhone will for the first time have satellite connectivity capabilities. As you know, or if you don't, now you're going to learn, cell phones connect through antennas. That's why we see almost all over the place, or every certain distance, we see a cell phone tower. In the case of this, it will be through satellite connection, like a satellite phone. Now, it won't be for you to just call somebody and talk to them like 3 hours at a time. It's not going to be for that. It will have the capability for text message up to a certain amount of characters and emergency calling. So it will not just be for you to be talking to anybody whenever you want. It'll be just for emergencies. The next rumor that I'm going to be talking about is actually a pretty funny one, and I'm going to tell you why. It is being rumored that the iPhone will switch to Wi-Fi 6E. Wi-Fi 6E is the latest Wi-Fi technology. I don't know if this will happen because the other day I went to Costco, and I own the Orbi system of mesh, Wi-Fi mesh system. And when I was in Costco, from far away, I saw the Orbi mesh system that I thought was the one I bought. And it had a price, and I had to walk all the way over to see the price because I honestly couldn't believe it. When I got there, I saw that the Wi-Fi had changed from the one I had, which was Wi-Fi 6, to Wi-Fi 6E. And with that came a change in price to $1,199. So $1,200 for a Wi-Fi mesh system. It's safe to say that that technology is not going to be broadly available for quite a while. So we'll just have to wait and see if that happens. The other reason I don't think it's going to happen is that we switch phones more often than we switch like laptops or desktops. And considering that Apple just announced the MacBook Air, the redesigned MacBook Air, and left it with Wi-Fi 6, which is something that we keep for longer. Instead of future-proofing that one, they kept it at Wi-Fi 6. So I don't know if they're going to switch the phone over to Wi-Fi 6E, which is something that we actually don't keep for that long either ways. Most people either change every 2 years, 3 years, or some people even change every year with every new device that comes out. The next rumor I'm going to be talking about, and I do hope that this one does happen, is that the SIM card will be removed. So every phone company uses a SIM card in order to be able to give you your connectivity to their systems. It is being rumored that you're going to have an eSIM, or an electronic SIM. Now, it's already happening. The Apple Watch connects with an eSIM, and for the Pro models, at least, you have an additional eSIM directly on your phone available. You have that space available aside from the SIM card from your carrier. So what is being rumored is that it's going to have just 2 eSIMs. This would be great because if you lose your phone or if your phone gets stolen, as soon as they turn it on, it'll connect to the carrier and you will be able to see where your device is in order to be able to locate it. So I actually think this is actually one of the really good ideas. The last one is one I'm really divided on, and that is being rumored that the iPhone 14, at least the Pro models, I'm pretty sure it's going to be the one happening with, is going to be bumped up the storage to 2 terabytes. I think it will happen, and I think it won't. I think it will happen because if you have 8K video recording and you're going to bump up the quality from the pictures to 48 megapixels, you're going to need more storage because it's going to take up more space. So that's why I think that it could happen. I don't think that it will happen because barely last year they bumped up to 1 terabyte of space, and normally Apple likes to wait a couple of years before they bump up the storage. Instead of doing it every year, they do it every other year. So I don't know if that's going to happen. If you like this video, or if you have any comments regarding the information, or if you know regarding any other rumors that were not discussed in this video, go ahead, leave it in the comments down below. While you're down there, press that like button, subscribe, and smash that bell so you can get notified when we have new videos. I want to thank everybody that has subscribed. We passed 200 subscribers. Thank you to everybody. Keep sharing those videos. help us grow. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. As always, if you have a Google account or Gmail, you have a YouTube account. Sign in with your Gmail to your YouTube channel or your YouTube app, whichever you prefer, and go ahead and subscribe to help us grow. I will really appreciate it. As always, we're available on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and obviously YouTube at J.R. Abrams Tech, so you can stay up to date with the latest news and rumors about tech. Until next time.